Jonathan walked with William Zeppeli at his side, and Speedwagon, who had insisted on coming with them, trailing behind. All the while, he was trying to breathe in a way that deeply made him uncomfortable. This hormone training was extremely straining on himself. It just didn't feel natural to breathe in this manner. But he could already feel the energy coursing through his body in doing so, and that made it all worth it. Or at least, it had to make it all worth it, because he had seen the aftermath of Dio's presence. They had just gotten off their boat outside of the United Kingdom a few hours ago, and Jonathan was already wishing deeply that he hadn't. It wasn't a pretty sight. They hadn't come across any living city for the last hour. All of them looked like they had been completely torn apart by some great conflict. But human war couldn't have been this complete. Dio? Jonathan gritted his teeth as he walked through what had to be the fourth city on their journey since they had touched down on the mainland. The worst part of it was that they hadn't seen any vampires, at least not any powerful ones. Grunts here and there who knew nothing of Dio's current location. Every second they waited to find Dio was another second that some family, some person, was being torn apart by this monstrous horde. It certainly didn't help that even from the ship he could see swarms of creatures covering the sky. He could see spots where fluffy white clouds should be, replaced by dark shadows. Is everything alright, my boy? William asked at his side. I don't believe I could see how any of this would be alright, Jonathan replied earnestly. William nodded. He sometimes forgot, because Jonathan was so adept at using hormone, that the boy wasn't a warrior. William himself had seen more than enough things like this in his time. In fact, the only thing that bothered him about this sight now was the fact that he wasn't at all bothered by it. I cannot live with this injustice, Jonathan continued. Every minute, nay, every second we're out here, something horrible is happening to another innocent. Men, women, and children. He clenched his fist, Speedwagon putting a hand on his shoulder. Mr. Joestar, he said earnestly, we can get to the bottom of this. No great pain in the world lasts forever. Jonathan smiled at Speedwagon's word. Just a small amount. He didn't necessarily believe them at the moment, but he really wanted to, so he forced himself to. Thank you, my friend. He gave a small smile. If anything else, he wasn't alone, even if on some level it did feel like it from time to time. Speedwagon couldn't fight these beasts, as much help as he was in other ways. And though William Zeppeli was a great help in that category, and a great mentor, he just felt distant to him in some way. He was very professional. He taught Jonathan. He instructed him. He fought side by side with him when necessary. But they didn't really have any conversations outside of that. He only told Jonathan what he needed to know in the moment, more an instructor than a comrade. William straightened himself up as Jonathan thought. We need to keep moving. There's nobody to save in this city. Every minion has likely moved on. He glanced back at Jonathan, with very little emotion on his face. Jonathan began to nod, only for the look on Speedwagon's face to stop him in his tracks. Jojo! That sound! Speedwagon exclaimed, as he pointed in a direction far away from them. It was just past the city's edge, on the path from the remnants of the entrance to the city. In other words, it was just within earshot. Zeppeli closed his eyes to listen further. Jonathan soon did the same. There was nothing for a while, just a long stretch of silence, and then they finally heard it. The sound of a child. No! Stop! Get away! The small, high-pitched voice wailed.